each item will come forward to the microphone and present his or her requests and to answer any questions the members of the Planning Commission may have. Next, anyone for or against the request will be asked to come forward to the microphone and express their opinion. Each side will have a total of 10 minutes, no more, to speak. Plats, rezonings, revised master plans, street renamings, and text amendments require a public hearing. And once the public hearing is completed, Planning Commission members will deliberate and render their decision. Planning Commission members with a personal or financial interest in any petitioner's request are required to recuse themselves. The members of the Planning Commission are yours truly, Ann Clemens, Chairwoman, Mr. Reggie Mantooth to my left, Vice Chairman, Mr. Frank Cook to my right, Mr. Buddy Harwick to my left, Mr. Cruz Reeves to my left, Mr. Reginald Hawkins to my right, Mr. Reggie Dunn to my right, Mr. James Reed to my right, and Ms. Leslie Stones is also to my left. And the members of the Land Use staff are Mr. Tommy Tyson to my right, Mr. James Center also, and Miss Jovan Hines. Members and petitioners are to please speak directly into the microphone at the podium. The minutes are recorded for legal purposes, and this is the only way to accurately pick up audio. Tonight, we have 9 members present, and it takes 5 votes to pass a motion. Because of the number of board members present, and I don't think you will, if you would like to delay your request, please let us know when your request is announced. Are there any changes to the agenda, Mr. Tyson? No, ma'am. Very good. I'd like to call for approval of minutes.
I got a correction.
Yes, sir.
And it showed that next meeting of this item number 2, which is going to be item number 1, was for November the 4th. It's 18th.
All right. So noted.
I wasn't here on the 4th, were you?
No, sir.
Okay.
Ms. Hines has noted that. Any other corrections? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second? It's moved and properly.
Changes.
With the changes, yes.
With the necessary corrections.
With the next.
It's moved and properly, second with the necessary correction that the minutes have been approved. Mr. Tyson, the first agenda, please. First item.
The first item is presented by Flowers and White Engineering, representing T Investments, LLC, requesting preliminary approval of County Downs Addition preliminary plat located at the east end of Paddock Lane in an R75S zoning district.
Good evening. I'm Kenneth White Jr. with Flowers and White, representing T Investments, LLC. From those that were here last month, this was presented last month. As he said, this is in a R75S zoning. We're requesting preliminary plat approval with this plat. Per staff, it adheres to the subdivision regulations and the zoning regulations for R75S. I can entertain any questions. I do have my developer's counsel here. If there's any kind of legal questions, we'd like to like for him to respond to that. So.
I have a
TJ.
question. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Excuse me, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
TJ, tell me where the sewer, is this gravity or
Yes,
is
sir.
this going to be pumped or what?
Yes, sir. I have a map I can show you real quick.
I just pass it down.
Whatever you say, you need to say it on the mic, sir.
You probably gonna have to. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, well, we'll just pass these down here.
So Mr. Harwood's question was, there's some existing sewer that's running throughout the property, throughout the raw land. That sewer was installed from the south going northward. on some earlier phases of County Downs. There's also a sewer line running from the east to west that was already installed. The map that I'm passing through is kind of, the red line kind of indicates where the existing sewer is. So you can see I've kind of crafted our plan to follow as best as I can some of the existing sewer, so we can capture that sewer. It's a value to our developer. And so it either goes down rights of ways or the rear of lot lines. And if you can see kind of in the middle of the site, I think it's lot, I can't say what lot numbers, those lots are a little wider to accommodate an easement where that sewer line is.
But is it pumped or is
No,
it
sir, I'm
gravity?
sorry.
Everything's gravity?
Yes, sir, everything's
And is
gravity.
Is it then leaving this site and going south, continued south? It goes under the interstate, or what does it
Yeah,
do?
it's public sewer.
Yeah.
It actually runs to the north, and we're gravity draining to the existing sewer.
Now, wait a minute. Help me.
Mm-hmm.
You said it runs to the north.
Yeah, some of it runs to the north. Some sewer is stubbed out from County Downs that may run southward, but yeah, the drainage path goes to the north. That's correct.
But these lots, it would run
East and
gravity
west.
flow,
Yes, to the trunk line. That's correct.
and it would, and then where would it go when it leaves this plat?
Well, it would run through several networks of sewer to the collection, to the treatment facility, where Waterworks treats the sewer and puts it in the river.
Okay, but it's all gravity.
Yes, sir. No pump stations are required on this site. It's actually a very adequate system of sewer to capture.
Talking about sanitary sewer.
Sanitary, that's right.
Ms. Reed?
Yes, Mr. Reeves.
When last we met, we gave you the, not really instructions, but we highly suggested that you have a meeting with the people that live in the close area. During that meeting, and we asked you to have a meeting of the minds and kind of explain things. Did you explain that to them the way you just explained it to us at that meeting?
Jeremy, do you want to, yeah, and during the meeting, I'm not sure if any kind of, you're talking about sanitary sewer, correct?
I'm talking about everything. I'm talking
okay.
I'm talking about the sewers, I'm talking about the roads, I'm talking about everything. Was everything discussed, and was it discussed in detail so that these people know what was going on?
You want me to try
That's my question.
Yeah, well, so we had a meeting several weeks after our last meeting with y'all. A couple-hour meeting. There was several hundred people there, so we had a good congregation of people. You know, we explained, the stub-out streets and why we're connecting. There's some drainage questions in there. I tried to explain, understand, we're just in the preliminary plat stage right now. As I told in the meeting, we haven't engineered this yet. So before we can even start construction, I have to satisfy the engineering department as well as the sewer department and the fire department, and all the comments have to be addressed. The city has a third party that actually reviews our hydrology for the drainage system. They're very, very thorough. I can attest to that. So we explained the drainage questions there. We explained the stub-out streets, Hollybrook and Christian, and the connectivity requirements from the city, and why we're connecting those right there. But we spent 2 hours answering the questions as best of our ability.
Any other questions from the commission?
Yeah, I've got
Yes,
one.
sir.
Excuse me.
Go right ahead.
Well, what about the storm sewer, though? Where is it leading
That's the
to?
drainage system. That's not Mr. Reeves. That's the storm system. So again, one of the area up to the northeast is kind of flat. A gentleman said it's kind of prone to low areas right there. And I agree with him. You can look at the contours. It's a flat system. Nothing's in a flood plain in this area right here, this immediate area right here. So you see our detention pond in the middle of the site. I talked about how much water we have to hold back in different storm events we have to hold back, that as engineers we're required to do so. So we did talk about the storm drainage as well, in this drainage discussion.
Yes, at what point, this is 244 homes, at what point would a traffic study be required?
Well,
Or is one required in your
it is
understanding?
of my understanding, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's my understanding that the traffic study is not required per the subregs. it states that for PUDs, you know, planned unit developments, they are required, but we're just we're not a PUD. So, you know, back in 2002, this body approved a preliminary plat that had a street network or so. That had several over 100 or so lots that was approved in that preliminary plat. Preliminary plats approved the street network, but obviously the lots were shown on that preliminary plat as well.
So if this had been 1,000,
We couldn't put 1,000 lots in there.
well, I understand that, but had it been 1,000 or 500, even if it's not a PUD, it doesn't require a traffic study.
Well, again, we met, that's my understanding, that's correct. And we met with the traffic engineer on the front end before we brought this to the body a couple months ago.
Okay.
And because, you know, it's an important facet of any design is traffic. And because we would want to make sure the city is in support of attaching to those stub-out streets, and they concurred that they were. So he did not mention any requirement of a traffic study. The traffic engineer here in town did not at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Tommy, how long does a zoning stay in place?
It's, once it's put on, it stays until it's, proposed to change, but once it's placed on there, it stays on there.
Forever?
Until, unless somebody comes along for some reason and wishes to change it. If it's already developed, it's pretty much, locked in, but, you know, if it's rezoned, that would take it away from what might be originally.
Was all of Fox Hollow and County Downs, were they all originally R75?
I think so.
So
You could build,
the developers of Fox Hollow and the developers in County Downs both elected to go with larger lots than were required under the zoning. Is that a true statement?
that's a fair statement, yes.
Okay. How long does a plat, an approved plat, whether it's final or whether it's temporary, or how long does it last?
It lasts till it's amended.
Last till it's amended. Now, wasn't there a plat in 2002 that was approved by the Planning Commission
Yes.
with 100-foot lots on it?
I know that there was one in 2002. I don't remember the exact designation it was.
Well, where I'm going with that is, could it be that that plat is still in force?
The overall is still there. That's what we're dealing with here is the revisions of the preliminary overall.
But again, you got to get it simple for me. If that was 100 foot, if it was approved, which is what somewhere, I didn't just make that up, okay? If that's the case, and if plats don't die, wouldn't that still be in place? And that this would be a version change from that approved plat? Is that, am I missing something?
No,
Well then,
It's not recorded.
it's not zoned 100. It was the lots were 100.
do what? I'm sorry.
The lots were 100 foot.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
I don't believe it was 100-foot zoning. I think it was.
No, I didn't say the zoning. I said the
Right.
plat.
Right.
I mean, I was asking, what you just told me is that the zoning doesn't die and the plat doesn't die,
Correct.
okay? And so my question was, if the plat didn't die, then is it not still in place?
It's still in place.
The 100-foot still in place?
If it has the 100-foot lots on there, yes, that'd be true.
can I point something out? Yeah,
yeah,
the way I understand it
absolutely.
is,
Please.
so there's a preliminary plat that was approved in '02. So
Okay.
the preliminary plat sets the streets throughout the raw land. The
Okay.
zoning sets the width of the lot.
Right,
So
right.
though 100-foot lots were shown on the preliminary plat back in '02, that plat is still active, but it's just preliminary plats approve the street network through the raw land. So, theoretically, that you can put a smaller lot on that same street network as long as it adheres to the zoning ordinance in a 70-foot wide lot. What sets, obviously, the street width, we have to come back for a final plat. So that's when you have to say, do these lots meet zoning? And as long as it is 75 foot in width, I guess it would in this R75S zoning. But yeah, the preliminary plat that's still active just sets the street network throughout the site. We've been told that we can use that and put 75-foot lots on that street network if we so desire right now. But
Would that be a change to the plat if you did, right?
well, that would be, no, it really wouldn't, because it sets the street network. So we're proposing a brand new preliminary plat, as you see in front of you right now. Again,
No,
we're-
I understand,
yeah.
y'all are looking at
Yeah.
a 75. And, what my only question was trying to figure out that if they don't die, that's what we said.
The streets don't die. That's right.
The plat, what I was told, the plat doesn't die,
The preliminary
nor
plat.
does the rezoning die. So that was my comment, that if that's the case, then aren't we really just going back trying to make changes to a plat that's already been approved?
Well, so as it was discussed with me, as I understand Ms. Hardwick, so the zoning went several years probably before the plat of '02, the R75 zoning.
Probably before you were born.
Might have been. And then back in '02, when they did the preliminary plat, it set the street network from what County Downs was developed at that time. And since '02, they've kind of did 20, 30 lots at a time to mimic that preliminary plat that was of record. Since they've stopped now, and now the raw land's here, that plat is still active. Again, the street network is set within that raw land, but the width of the lot is per zoning, is per R75. So we could put 75-foot lots on that street network, I guess that's of record right now?
And these are the same streets that were
No.
approved in that, they're different?
No, this is a totally new layout.
Totally different, okay.
Totally new layout, Mr. Hart, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Question, and this may be more of a Tommy question. This 100-foot preliminary plat in 2002, was that a public record?
Yes.
It was. So people that were buying and selling property in these two subdivisions could have relied upon that 100-foot lots in their decision-making on whether to buy with a vacant land behind them.
Good, yes.
Okay. And that would have been an erroneous assumption that there were going to be 100-foot lots behind them.
Well, it's not necessarily erroneous, it's changed, they're requesting the change now.
They're requesting the change now, but they could have they were relying on that, or they could have. I don't know whether they did or not, but they could have.
I don't know, it's my understanding that usually the thoughts are not that far beyond the property itself. When you're buying a house or buying a lot, you might look at the general area, you might look at one next door, not one behind you. One,
Right, but the one next door
yeah,
showed a 100-foot lot.
good.
It could or it did.
Well, I don't know that any of those lots you're referring to were ever developed. I don't believe they were.
Okay, but at this point, everything that's out there is R75.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Cook, they were, in the preliminary plat, you always show lots just of representative lots on the preliminary plat. They were probably shown as dashed lines, like I have. They're representative lots on this preliminary plat. And what we're requesting now is a preliminary plat. We're requesting to set the street network throughout this development. And then we're going to come back with a final plat, and that's going to that's going to ironclad, those are 75-foot wide or wider lots. That's what we're going to ask for.
The other question, this may be the city, again, I don't know. All these stub out dead ends that we had that you're now doing interconnectivity with on those streets that you mentioned, the city sent us, and y'all may have the same thing, that says that it's being connected, if I'm reading it correctly, because it's for emergency vehicles, and that's the reason that it's being connected. Is that correct from the city? Am I getting that?
Mr. Cook, as a general rule, emergency vehicles, especially fire apparatuses, like to come from two different directions if possible,
So
at all times, because if something happens
why did that not take place a long time ago?
because the economy went sour and the development
So
ceased.
you were not worried about safety when the economy went
No, sir,
sour?
I didn't say that, sir. What I'm saying,
Tell me what you mean.
what I'm saying is that it didn't happen because things slowed down and
Well, that's
There's-
been long before. This was, what period of time are you talking about?
I don't understand the question, Mr. Cook.
What period of time did you decide not to, did the city decide not
We
to connect?
didn't, the city didn't decide not to continue the economy. The economy did, the need for housing, the lots, the development stopped because the developer chose to. The city didn't stop.
I thought this was a safety issue. Why were the streets not connected when the developments were done?
Who would have paid for it, sir?
Well, the developer would have paid for it.
No, sir. No, that's, they encouraged the connectivity, but the city's not in a position to put a developer in a position to put roads in that he can't put houses and stuff like that on. So, but the connectivity is there for emergency flow.
Okay.
Bottom line.
I mean, you're telling it's a safety issue, but it wasn't done for 20 years.
But we're telling you that it's in the books because intertech is a safety issue when it's possible, but it's not like we can go in and put all these roads in if the need's not for the house, there's no need for the housing or there's nobody to foot the bill, so to speak. But the reason for it, and we're just telling you that the reason for it is for good traffic flow and patterns.
Okay.
Mr. Cook, the preliminary plat that was of record, how County Downs developed was from west to east. And, I don't know why sorry, I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know why they didn't continue to finish the development, but it was in, if you look at the preliminary plat that was approved in '02, they connect Hollybrook and actually connect Foxdale. So, and we connect Christian Road. So when we see road names on two different developments, it's understood to me, and I wanted to confirm it when we met with the traffic engineer that they wanted interconnectivity. So, as you see, our first phase is going to be the west, 50 lots or so. We're still not going to get to Hollybrook till phase 2. So that's the same. We're just going to develop west to east and connect as, should y'all approve this, connect as we go in that direction.
Do you have something, Chris?
But to answer Mr. Cook's question, the fire department didn't require this.
Well, they actually probably did when they did the preliminary plat that sets the
No.
street network throughout the development. So they connected if you look at the '02 preliminary plat, it was planned to connect to Hollybrook and Christian Road.
All right.
Chairman, Mr. Chairman, we've well exceeded time. If you want to cut it.
All right, I would ask, please, if you have something different to say, other than your opposition, we're very well aware of the community's opposition. I would like for the representatives of those communities that this project is affecting, if you would just send one representative for your area. Would you please come to the microphone and please state your name and your address and your comment.
Richard Dean, and what did you ask me?
Your address.
My address is 612 Keeneland Way, Montgomery 36109. I live in County Downs.
Thank you.
And I want to save a few minutes toward the very end for some legal arguments because I am an attorney, so don't let me use up all my time. Plus, we have two other people I know that are going to speak.
Just keep it brief, sir.
Pardon?
Yes, go right ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me say first, I want to follow up on something that was just discussed because I hear several of y'all saying the exact same things we all have on our mind. We did meet with the developer and the engineer last week. They were very kind to give us a couple hours. We went over a lot of things, some of the things they didn't want to tell us, but here's the things that came out of that meeting that I think are very important. They have not bought the property. They have not closed a loan. They have a contract to buy it, but if this plat is not approved, they do not have to buy it. It's totally their option. They have not hired a builder. They said they're talking to some builders, and we asked who you're talking to. They said, we're not going to tell you that. It's a lot of things going on that we really want to know that we can't know, and I understand that. That's proprietary. That's what builders and developers do. But I want you to understand, nobody's done anything yet. They hadn't started any construction, hadn't graved any roads. Nothing has been done. If the plat's not approved, I'm of the opinion they're probably going to walk away from it, or they could come back with another plat with some of these things we're talking about. So let me talk about some of the things y'all just mentioned. We asked them about drainage, traffic study, every bit of that. This future pond that's up there that was on the original 2002 plat, we asked about all of that. We had residents concerned about drainage. I think you're going to hear in just a minute from somebody. The answer we kept getting was, we're going to do that later. We're going to do that down the road. Well, I read your regs, I read your bylaws, I submitted a 4-page handout. I hope all of y'all have got it. I was told if I got it there by noon today, you would all have it. The way I read your regulations, you've got to have a traffic study ahead of time before you approve a plat that has a subdivision of 50 houses or more. We're talking 244 houses here. We're talking about the main road, one of the main roads in Fox Hollis, Christan. It has a park, a very nice park. It floods about twice a year. One of the residents will tell you that. We have a lot of traffic going in and out of that residential neighborhood now. You've got old folks. You've got a lot of things Ms. Bartels is going to tell you about in just a minute. But we think the traffic study is needed now. We think the drainage is needed now. We think this retention pond is needed now. Secondly, if I've read this correctly, and I stand corrected if I'm not reading it correctly, but the sewer sanitary and the board of the city of Montgomery has not approved or signed off on this. When you look at your agenda and you've got the 5 items from the city departments that say no complaints, no complaints, no complaints, well, I went down to the planning office last Thursday and this week, or last Wednesday and this week, and I actually got the copy of the sewer sanitation folks, and they have all kind of complaints in there. And they talk about the streets don't align with the drainage. And the little bitty circle where it says approval, yes or no, is circled no. So one of the departments of the city that's supposed to sign off on this has said, no, this isn't going to fly. So we're going to approve the plat and let them start doing their stuff and do the drainage later and the traffic study later. And then I can see the argument coming down the road when they get to the final plat process. Well, you let us get started and you approve the final plat. How can you deny the, I mean, you did the preliminary plat. How can you deny the final plat? So I think it's a lot of procedural things that hadn't been done. It's been overlooked. You've had corners cut. Secondly, getting back to this plat
10
for
minutes
life,
now, sir.
zoning for life, that's one of the things I mentioned in my 4-pager. I went down and looked at this. You got a 1972 plat and a 2002 plat. January 10th of 2002 was a preliminary plat filed with the city, and I'm assuming approved. I thank you, Mr. Tyson, for mentioning the procedural stuff there. But it's a plat on record right now with the city. Those lots are 100 feet. You know how I found that out? Mr. Kenneth White told our neighborhood association last Tuesday, there's already a preliminary plat down there that's got 100-foot lots on it. I didn't know this. I don't do this for a living. I'm a lawyer, but I don't do this kind of stuff. I went down and took a look. The streets are different on the preliminary plat from 2002 than they are here. One of my handouts in the material I gave you is an actual recorded plat. It's plat number 17 in County Downs, which is a recorded plat in the probate court. It was approved by this commission. It's got a lot of houses and lots on Keeneland Way, right where Flagstaff intersects Keeneland, and you can see these big old lots, and you can see the street layout is nothing like what they've got up there. which I'm assuming, I don't know this, that's probably why the sewer folks said, these streets don't line up with this sewage. So there are a lot of very good legal reasons, I'm gonna get to this in a minute, why this should be turned down. Secondly, I asked a very prominent engineer in this town. I probably talked to 50 or 100 people in the last 3 weeks. Like y'all, I can't wait till this meeting to be over, and I thank you for listening to us. But back to my story. I asked a prominent engineer, I said, all I'm hearing is R75, R75, R75. It's a no-brainer, it's automatic. Planning Commission don't have any choice. If they vote it down, it's still gonna be approved. And I said, well, why are we having this hearing? He said, because in 2002, there was a plat file that had the 100-foot lots on it, had the streets, and had all the stuff that we're talking about now, and what they're doing is seeking to change that. And I didn't realize that at the time. So whether you call this a replatting, a rezoning, I know it's not zoning, we're not talking about zoning, but they're basically seeking to change what's already out there. And in just a minute, when I start talking the law in these cases, this ain't a matter of all the homeowners mad because you're going to devalue the neighborhood. We don't like it. We don't want this change. It's something that's already been filed of record that people have relied on. And some of these houses in Plat 17 back up to the lots right here, and the plat that was filed in the probate court and that was approved show these bigger lots. So how can you say somebody didn't realize I'm going to have a nice lot behind me? Secondly, I've got a real interesting argument that I've never heard anybody say. The Marshall family owns this property. They always have. I called it Marshall Field when I was growing up. They platted the 19 plats that are County Downs. They developed County Downs. And I thought to myself, why is the Marshall family, it's FHM now, or FMH, whatever it is, why are they not trying to do this instead of a developer who hadn't even bought the property yet? Now, don't get me wrong, the developer's entitled to do that. I read the regs, they can do that. But I got to thinking, the Marshalls aren't standing up here because they would have a tough time convincing y'all to change this whole dynamic of this subdivision when they've platted 19 different sections. 100-foot lots, 2,400-foot houses, and all of that stuff that's out there, I think we're entitled to rely on. We've got a real good neighborhood. For those of you who take the Montgomery Advertiser, on October 31st, they had a very nice article in the paper about County Downs. And I can promise you, I didn't put anybody up to that. Some realtor had done a nice article. I've got a copy of it if you want to see it. But it's a well-preserved neighborhood. It's a very good neighborhood. The crux of our argument is not that they're going to ruin our neighborhood, but they're changing everything that's already been platted and filed with the city and is still on file. So I don't think they ought to be able to do it. I think all these regulations that say you've got to have a traffic study and the drainage and all that, and one of your city departments saying, we're not blessing this, I think that's reasons to say we're not going to approve it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Two people want to speak. I'm going to let them be recognized by y'all. Then I'm going to come up for my 2 minutes of legal
Thank you,
stuff.
sir.
Thank you.
Please state your name and your address, please, ma'am. Come on to the podium and to the mic.
Thank you. I can hear noise. I can't necessarily hear your voice, so I may need a translator. My name is Karen Bartels. I'm a newcomer. I moved with my family into Fox Hollow almost exactly to the day 34 years ago. We intended to stay a year, and we did, and we're still there. I have been asked to talk about the traffic going to and from and the use of our park, and so I'm going to try to stick to that because you've heard enough numbers and things. I want to stick specifically to that. When we first moved in, there was no park. There were 3 lots that the Marshalls, I assume the Marshalls, owned and could not sell because they flooded every time it rained. Eventually, and I don't know the process, eventually the city gave us that section as a park, and for them we are very grateful for that. It has been a treasure for our neighborhood, for County Downs, for Del Reyta, for the many people who come and use that park. It is well used. So thank you to whoever. Now, I'm also a teacher. I want you to quit with the numbers. I want you to open your mind and take a walk with me.
We only have 10 minutes, ma'am.
We're going to start at Hollybrook, and we're going down to the park. Be careful, because of the 35 homes that are on that path, 22 of them have to back their cars out into this road that is only going to have a little more traffic to get turned around and down the street. So watch where you're walking. When you get to the park, oops, before you get there, see those two boys walking past my house, skipping down the way? They're laughing, they're talking, they're going down to play ball. And they are no more thinking of traffic than flying to the moon. They're playing baseball. Now, once you get all the way down to the park, you will see a line of cars. 7 this morning, 8 yesterday morning, 6 yesterday afternoon. What's happening? Those people have driven into our neighborhood and are using our park. Who's using it? All kinds of people are using it. See that young man who's limping along? He came in a car. He's rehabbing from having had an accident in his sports team. See those two people over there, and they've got 2 strollers? Just had brand new twin boys. They're walking their boys in the park. In order to get there, they have to cross this street that doesn't have much more traffic, a little more traffic. Do you see the car standing in the middle of the drive, of the road? He's waiting in the middle of traffic. What is he waiting for? Well, he's on his way to Atlanta Highway, but his neighbor is coming home. And when there are cars parked there, we can't both get through, so we take turns. Sometimes they come through and I wait, sometimes I go through and they wait. A common occurrence probably 50% of the time. Of the people walking in that park, oh, look, there's that 86-year-old lady. She walks every day, rain or shine, it has kept her alive. She is a trooper. But to get there, she needs to cross 2 of these roads that the development company tells us will have a little more traffic on them. So while you are imagining with me, I would like you to take another extra minute and bring your own family or your grandchildren and bring them along with me and come move into my neighborhood and tell me what you really think about how that little more traffic is going to make a difference to your family. If this project goes through, it will mess up, it will destroy. It will destroy our park, it will destroy our peace, it will destroy some of our people. They will not be able to get around, they will not be able to do the things they've been doing. I am just hoping that perhaps something that you told your children, or maybe your dad told you. My dad told me, I hope you passed it on to your family too. Just because you can do something does not mean you should do it. Just
Thank you so
because
much.
you can put a development in there does not mean you should.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Please keep your comments to 10 minutes, ma'am. And is this opposition as well?
Yes.
All right, everybody is in agreement that they are opposed to this project. We have some other items that need to be addressed. Thank you so much.
I have one quick question. Hey,
Your fans want you to speak, ma'am. Come on back up and speak. Please keep it brief. Please keep it brief.
I have a question I'd like to ask. The lady, somebody can just answer this quick. Who maintains that park? Is that the homeowners association or is that the city? The city maintains the park. Okay, thank you.
My name is Yolanda Watkins Bailey, and I live at 336 Citation Drive. I've lived in Montgomery all of my life, and since I can remember, I've always adored County Downs. And in the back of my mind, I've always said, one day I'm gonna live in County Downs. Well, a few years ago, that time came back in 2017. I chose County Downs because I wanted a neighborhood like I grew up in, where my son can ride bikes. He can walk to a friend's house. He can skate down hills. He can also visit other people. When people come to visit me at my home, they be like, oh, I didn't know County Downs had these houses back here. I said, well, because County Downs is the hidden gem of Montgomery. In County Downs, Fox Hollow, and Watson Circle, people are already experiencing flooding problems. I don't think this development will correct the problem, only add to it. If you look at the proposed 244 houses on average, there are 2 cars per household. That is 488 more cars coming through Fox Hollow and County Downs to get to Atlanta Highway. On average, a person leaves their house at least 2 times per day. So that is 976 trips in one day just for this proposed new neighborhood. When we met with the developers last week, I asked him, no, I think I implored upon him when speaking to developers, would he make a requirement that the homes at least be 2,400 square feet? His response was he will not make that requirement. He also admitted that the marshals had given them a plat for R100 lots, which would be about 200 homes. I asked why wouldn't they use that? His response was, I can get more houses out of this, extra 44 houses. So at that meeting, that told the people at County Downs, Fox Hollow, Watson Circle, that whomever the developer may be, they're going to develop smaller homes. When I purchased my house from the Mitchells, who built the house, they told me they stayed in their house. They stayed in their car. They spent the night in their car to get this particular lot. So to me, that speaks volume about County Downs itself, because they weren't just impressed, they were just that impressed with the neighborhood. As we see time and time again, developers come in to build homes and then move on to the next project, not giving thought to the community. As we look at new developments in and around Montgomery, all the houses tend to look alike. The only difference is the address. If this is going to be an extension of County Downs, let it be truly an extension of County Downs. Those homes should also carry the same charm and exquisite characteristics of the homes already in County Downs. If this is not going to be the case, as the citizens of Montgomery and as homeowners in County Downs, Fox Hollow, Watson Circle, and Bellhurst, we need this commission to say no, and we will not let this happen to our neighborhoods.
The gentleman, who are you, sir?
Your Honor, Commissioner, I'm here on behalf of the developers with a rebuttal.
On behalf of the developers?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Sir, you will come after you had something else? Let him do that. Let him do that, please.
Commissioner Clemens, Commission, I'm Royal Dumas, I'm Rushton Stakely, been brought by the developers today. I understand these issues before you are always emotional issues, and today is nothing less. The purpose here today is to look at the legal requirements for developing property. And Montgomery protects its citizens by doing several things, this commission being one of them. By doing zoning, they zone this property 75S. They require plats to be produced. This is a preliminary stage. Mr. Dean would like to turn the card over and have the end production be done before we bring it to this committee. I saw Mr. Dean's letter. He cites several regulations, none of which are applicable to this situation. He's asking for a traffic analysis, which the city has opined only applies to PUDs. He has stated that we need engineering, which only comes when we get to the construction phase. Once we get platted, we have to go through zoning. We have to go through construction permitting. Those issues will be in the future. I think as we get here today, Commissioner Cook asked this question, I think Commissioner Reeves too, is the issue of the 2002 plat. First, the zoning controls. The structure and the flow of the streets are what's controlled by the 2002 plat. Furthermore, if you look at the 2002 plat, you will see that what we are zoning now was not highlighted, was not put into the plat. It specifically says for future development. It's a non-binding aspect of the plat. So it has no control today. The purpose of the commission today is to look to make sure we met the requirements to have a preliminary plat, to begin this journey, which will have further city oversight throughout the process. That has been done. We ask for a vote on this and hopefully approval, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Sir, would you come and do your minute, please? We have other items that we need to get to as well.
I'll hurry. I just want to explain very briefly. The law creates y'all. You are supposed to vote on this. You can vote it up or down. The statute says the ground of disapproval shall be stated on the record if you vote it down. You have to state a reason for it to be valid. Secondly, the case law says valid reason. There's no definition of valid reason, but what the cases all come down on is health, morals, public safety, welfare of the community, stuff like that. I have given you a memo with 8 good, valid reasons, including the fact the plat's already out there that says something different. But if you do vote it down, here's where most county planning commissions get messed up. You either vote it's a tie and you do nothing, well, it's automatically approved in 30 days. If you vote it down but you don't give your reasons on the record tonight, it's going to be approved in 30 days. But you're just like a jury. You decide, you vote. If 5 of you vote this plat down and you state your reasons tonight, that's the final decision. I don't want you to assume it's going to be an appeal. I looked. I didn't see but about 3 cases that have ever been appealed. And when it does get appealed, it's not somebody suing the city. They're just asking a circuit judge to review what you did. They can ask the appellate courts to review what you did. You can vote it down and give a reason. And by the way, the law says you can give as many reasons as you want. Only one of them's got to be valid. So I've typed up 8 of them for you. I went over there tonight. Yeah. I approached the developer and the engineer tonight and said, hey, I got these things for y'all. I just filed them at 11:30 this morning. We've already got copies. So they already got the copies. They know about it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate
your
it. I didn't
time,
mean to be
sir.
so
Thank
long.
you so much.
Hey, I'm asking you make an affirmative motion to vote it down, second it, and then vote. And please state your reasons on the record if you do so, and you will not be overturned. That's my opinion. I've researched it.
Madam Chairman, may I say something?
Certainly.
You know, the gentleman, the attorney was up there, he just said, this is an emotional issue. I mean, he just kind of blew it off. Well, this is just an emotional issue. We've got people here who have bought houses who's this is going to be their last house because they're retirees. You know, it's not just an emotional issue. Please don't minimize it like that. I mean, that's total disrespect. You know, there's something else. There's something else. There is the letter of the law, and then there's the spirit of the law. And I think the spirit of the law is being ignored tonight because these are concerns. These are serious concerns. And all we're talking about, all you're talking about is 75 feet houses, you know, whatever, 75 feet out there, never mind everything else. You know, just come to these people and try to get a meeting of the minds of these issues. These are serious issues with them, whether it's drainage, whether it's traffic, whether it's the park, you know, people going down the street. You know, these are serious things. I know you want to take care of this and go on to the next project and you know, let these people take care of that mess, you know, later on. But, Madam Chairman, that's all I wanted to say. It's just,
Thank you so much. Is there a motion on the floor?
I'll make a motion. Motion to deny
Is there a second?
for safety reasons. And,
Okay, there's a motion,
Well,
and you
that's good
made the
enough.
motion, who made the second?
Or did I hear, and I'm the oldest serving member on this commission, but I have not had before where we have to state a reason. Is that, I'll ask, I'll go back to Tommy.
You have to give a reason, and it has to be a,
If we want to deny, we have to give a reason.
yes.
Okay. Well, I guess the plats in the past have just passed without, and if
We
you
have not taken a
deny it,
vote
we
yet.
haven't given a reason, and it's just passed.
Well,
and gone.
when they're approved, they don't have to have a reason for approval.
Okay, but you do have to have a reason for denial.
Correct.
Well, let me ask you this then. If somebody give a motion to approve and you don't have enough votes, is that a denial?
Yes.
It's the same as if we made a motion to deny.
No action.
Well, I mean, no action is not the same as denial. is it?
It goes 30 days and then it's approved.
Come on.
But you don't have to have a reason under that scenario,
Right.
do you? Huh?
No.
Mr. Dean, did you have something?
Yes, sir. The way the law reads, and I talked to Mr. Dumas about this just before this thing, we're on the same page, and I've read Stacy Bellinger's email to y'all giving you a legal opinion. If you vote to approve it, it's approved. No reason has to be given. If you vote it down, you have to state your reason on the record here at the meeting tonight. One person's of the opinion it's got to be in writing. I'm of the opinion you can orally state it because we're being filmed. There's a nice little video of this, but you have to give a reason why you're denying it. I had one attorney tell me to be safe, you need to make a motion to deny it or disapprove or vote down the plat, whatever you call it, a second, a discussion if you want, then you vote, and if you vote to deny it, somebody has to say, okay, the reason is this. And I suggest you give a lot of reasons, because if there's an appeal, if just one of those reasons is valid, it's going to be upheld. That's what I'm asking you to do. If you want to vote it down, I'd like you to give every one of them 8 reasons I gave you, and that's your discretion. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but
All right,
that would
all
help
right.
down the road.
All right, please. All right, there's a motion on the floor. There is a motion on the floor to deny. There's a motion, and then there was a second. How do you want to proceed, commissioners?
I say that we proceed by saying the plat does not conform with the preliminary plat that was filed in 2002.
All right, we have not taken the vote yet.
No, but I'm saying with
The
that
reason
as the
why.
denial.
Okay, all right. Well, after
Well,
we make the motion, then you
when
will
I,
make the
when I
say
made the
reason.
motion, I said for safety reasons.
Okay.
And
So
that can be another one.
you want, all right,
And
all right.
drainage is another one.
All right, okay, that's fine. There's a motion to deny, and there's a second. All those in favor of denying, raise your right hand. All those opposed? The motion carries.
Wait a minute now. We've got to give reason.
And the reason for the motion being denied, Cruz, please state your reason.
My
Well,
reason,
the reason of safety and drainage, and there's already a plat on the records to handle
Mr. Reed,
this.
your reason.
I said it doesn't conform with the preliminary plat voted in 2002.
Mr. Cook?
my reason is that their interconnectivity of the roads, the traffic, I don't think there's a question about whether the traffic study has to be done. And I've got a question about the change with the plat, with the preliminary plat that was done in 2002.
Those reasons have been recorded. Thank you so very much. County Downs, Fox Hollow, the other communities surrounding, thank you for your time. Next item. Next item. Please leave quietly. Please leave quietly. We have another item on the agenda.
The next item is presented by Doug Atkinson,
Please give courtesy to the next petitioner, please. Leave quietly.
Presented by Doug Isaacson, representing Isaacson Family Enterprises, LLC. Request to rezone the east portion of a parcel located on the northeast corner of Ray Thorington Road and Wisdom Road.
Doug, wait until there's quiet. Just a moment. Please be quiet on your exit. Please be quiet on your exit, please. All right, I think you can proceed.
Yeah, I'm Doug Isaacson,
Speak
representing
loudly, though.
Isaacson Family Enterprises, and we're requesting rezoning on 297 Ray Thorington from office to B2 to match the front of the property so we can develop it.
Mr. Isaacson, that is in my district. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No,
Can you hear me?
barely.
Oh.
He said that that is in his district, that
Can
project.
you hear me? Here.
Okay.
Over here. Can you hear me? Okay. You were supposed to have a meeting, or somebody was supposed to have a meeting.
Right.
Did you have the meeting, and what was the result
Yes,
of the meeting?
that's with the Melrose. We met twice with them. The last time we had them out to the property, and I bought 10 pizzas and 2 cases of sodas and 22 bags of candy we went through. And so we kind of addressed all their concerns, and we made some changes for them.
Was there anyone there from Thornton Trace, Breckenridge, Deer Creek, and New Park?
Pardon? We met with all the other ones, and then we met with Melrose for the second time. They're the ones that we met with here last time.
Well, I met with some people in Thornton Trace and Breckenridge, and they had no idea. They had no idea what was coming.
You said,
And their main concern was the houses that's right off your area. They're second-story houses, and the second-story houses look right down on top of where your RVs and trailers and boats are going to be, and they were not aware of that.
yeah, well, we're going to be a one-story. It won't be two-story.
No, I'm talking about the houses. I'm talking about the houses that overlook your one-story thing. Their houses are going to overlook the RVs. They're going to overlook the.
Yeah,
what do you plan to do about that? What do you plan to do about?
Yeah, the RVs will be inside the building.
So nothing is going to be
Right,
outside?
nothing. What we agreed with them, and what their concern was, they wanted our units in back to face, no doors facing their property. So we turned, so we're going to build the line where it'll be a blank wall facing their property. And also what we're going to do, they want us to take down the trees because they didn't like the trees because they're popcorn trees. So we agreed to take all the trees down and then put new landscaping in.
What kind of landscaping?
We'll be putting shrubbery in. And then also on the other road there, we're going to be putting a berm, and then we're going to put either evergreens or shrubbery, depending on what the city will approve.
Do you really understand what I'm saying about the second-story houses? The houses on the second floor will be overlooking yours, and I don't think the shrubbery is going to cover 2 floors, is it?
Well,
The berm.
the berm will go up a couple of feet, and then we'll have shrubbery growing up over that.
A couple of feet. I'm talking about 2 stories. I'm talking about the second floor.
Yeah, these buildings are not that high.
Yes, well, your building's not, but the houses that people live in, they are. I mean, we're talking $300,000 houses, some of them, and there's 2 stories.
That wasn't a concern when we were meeting with them. We met with all the homeowners along the back.
No, you didn't meet with all of the homeowners. You met with, I don't know how many,
We met-
but you didn't meet with the associations.
Yes, the association
No,
was
you
there.
did not. No, you did not. I was talking to them.
Yep.
Go ahead, sir. Do you have something to add?
Yeah, Wells Robinson. So as it relates to the homes that do look over the property line, that's all the Melrose
Could you
neighborhood.
speak into the mic a little
Sorry,
bit more?
yeah.
I didn't hear your name.
Wells Robinson.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Is that better?
Yeah.
So all of the houses that you're talking about that have a second story and are looking over into this property, That's all inside of Melrose. You know, you can see there actually is the corner with Deer Creek, and of course their shrubbery is kind of in that Grayson Grove Street. You can't see either direction. It's so overgrown with the berm and the shrubs that they've put in when that property was done. And so, you know, with the Melrose folks, we met with them last month out here in the lobby and actually continued the conversation after the building closed on the curb. And then that was a Thursday, and then the Monday we invited them all out to the property, and it was dinner time, so we invited them out and fed them and their children, and asked their HOA. They've had 2 HOAs during this process. The developer had one. They've exited since our last gathering. And the new company is HOA of Alabama that represents the new HOA, which is the residents. And so all of them were there at that meeting. And, you know, we asked them to bring everybody out, and it was a pretty large gathering. It went on for a while.
Well, sometime like you said, the company who represent the company, they might have been there, but that doesn't necessarily mean the people that live in that area was there. Now, according to the handout I got, the front of that building is supposed to be on Ray Thornton, but according to that, it's not.
Now, the issue is, in '08, when that was taken out of agriculture, residential, and into the development plan that is currently in place on the property, the reason why we're having this issue is the property's bisected. On the west side, they had 2 retail strips that were approved to go in, and that's how they got the B2 with the qualifications, with the reservations for the 10-foot vegetative barrier and all the rest, directional lighting, all of that. On the east half of the property, which is the issue, they intended to put in 4 office buildings, which would be 8 offices with parking. And that's why it got the Office 1 designation, which is different. And so what we've asked to do is to have the B2 qualified be unified across the property with the same restrictions that are already in place on the west side. And that includes the vegetative barrier. And to your question of sight lines, you know, the things you do to minimize that are, you obviously are going to build in a fortress style, right? So, you know, basically walls facing out. It's kind of like a muffler. It deals with sight lines, noise, light, all of that. Obviously, and it's in the current restrictions on the front half, and we're asking to extend it across the whole thing. You have to have a 10-foot vegetative barrier that goes the whole way. And in fact, we're not just going to do it for the neighbors on the north and the east side. We're going to bring it down the Wisdomwood side too, which is, you know, an additional 800 feet. And that was at the request of the neighbors down Wisdomwood. And so we've been, you know, meeting with them, asking them what they wanted. You know, I don't think they're here tonight, but last time they were here, they seemed pretty favorable towards us. The issue that I think happened was the meeting, I think, was October 28th. The new association was taking over November 1st. So the old association, we have since learned that we thought we were talking to the neighbors before that meeting. And, you know, there's all the emails and phone calls to show that, but it wasn't being communicated to the residents. The new association came in, and that's how we, frankly, met them here at the last Planning Commission meeting. And that was the HOA of Alabama folks. That they are now the HOA for Melrose. And so we have met with them, had a phone call with them again yesterday. I mean, I think we've been pretty aggressive with trying to meet with them and answer questions and concerns.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
The front of that building, will it be on Ray Thornton? Will the road come in, the road off Ray Thornton will come into the front of that building?
That's right. No, we're asking to unify the whole thing, and so it would all be B2. So,
yeah.
So then there used to be a pond in that northwest corner that was filled in. So we're digging that back out, and it'll actually become a pond again.
Yeah.
We can't build on top of a filled-in pond, obviously. Right. It won't work. So we're behind that, and that will be kind of the closest to Ray Thornton facade that you would see.
You'll be to the south of that, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of to the east of where that pond was in the corner, you can kind of see where it's a different color in that
Yeah.
northwest corner.
Yeah.
It would be where the house used to be that's now gone. That driveway went to it. Be basically right on top of where you see that driveway ending would be where the front building would be in terms of frontage.
Let me ask you something,
Sure.
and for you, Mr. Isaacson, also. Our next meeting is the 9th. And if I could get you in touch with Thornton Trace, Breckenridge, Deer Creek, and New Park.
I talked to Pruitt today. He lives in that development.
And I talked to him an hour ago. Yeah. And so that's why I'm asking you this. If you could bring it back on the 9th, can you do that a favor for me and Councilman Pruitt?
I mean, certainly, we'd be happy to. I mean, but I do want to say, we have talked to Deer Creek pretty extensively. I don't know that any of this would be fairly called news to them. Thorington Trace, we've asked everybody around there who is even involved in that neighborhood, and still to this moment don't know who that is.
Well, the councilman talked to the HOAs
Yeah.
in these areas, and they had no idea.
Yeah, I mean,
I was talking to the president of the HOA. So if you could do me a favor and bring it back on the 9th of December.
I mean, in all fairness, that's fine.
Okay,
we've
good.
spoken with everybody that
Good,
we know
okay.
to find, and if there's others that
Before we
want to talk,
leave-
we've asked them to come to us.
Before we leave, could I get your phone number?
Yeah.
I already have yours.
Yeah, happy
Could
to.
I get your phone number?
Sure, happy to.
And I'll arrange it.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to do it.
Good.
James, let me just ask, how does it affect Deer Creek? Where's,
They're in that association, and anything that comes in that area, they want to be notified about it. You know, just notification, whether it affects them directly or indirectly. They just want to know about it.
yeah, but,
And we did with them.
yeah, I was just wondering how it affects.
The executive director spoke with her at length about this, and some of their neighbors, the residents.
So could I get your number?
Sure, happy to do it.
Okay.
Does that storage facility have all interior hallway access, or is it?
So, you know, you don't want to go vertical on 7 acres, obviously. You're going to go horizontal, so it's going to be multiple buildings. And so-
I'm asking, is it a
be a
hallway access to the storage areas?
Yeah, so the indoor climate controlled plan is absolutely for that.
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
that is the plan.
Have you got both climate and just regular, or?
I mean, yeah, I mean,
both?
you would try to meet what the market need is. You don't want to and I can tell you frankly, we don't want to overbuild it at first either. So, I mean, you're trying to figure out exactly
You're
what.
gonna kind of phase it, is that what you're trying to do?
If you come in with the wrong stuff, you can't tear it down and do it over. And so you want to be careful with making sure you're not building something that's not needed. It's bad for everybody.
Well, I have to admit, they did a good job on Ann Street.
You know,
Johnson-
that's a very nice property.
Johnson-
Yeah, no, that's a very nice
It
property.
really sits in there nicely.
Yeah, it's very nice.
So to be clear, you said RVs are going to be inside the building. There's not going to be any RVs outside the building. Is that what you told me, or did I
Yes,
misunderstand?
it's just like, we built this already on, up in Arrowhead. Have you seen our project in Arrowhead? The RVs are inside
Inside the building,
of a building.
not the fence.
No, see, we're going in a high-end area. In high-end area,
I
you
understand
have
that.
customers on one end
I
inside.
understand that, but I just
Right.
want to be clear about
Right.
the RVs and
Yeah.
the boats and all of that.
Right. The reason that RVs got to be inside now is because the insurance industry now has said if you have RVs, like the big 45-footers and $1 million ones, you can't leave them outside when they're stored because they won't be covered for hail damage.
Gotcha.
That's why the whole trend is going to covered, and that's what we've done in the past.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
Could I get your number? Yeah.
Any other questions? You can get it to him. Let me just finish the presentation so we can get to the next item. Any other questions from the commission? Any questions from the audience? Is there a motion?
No, they're going to bring it
Oh,
back.
they're going to delay it. Okay, all right.
delay
Mr. Tyson, next item?
Next item is presented by Goodman Mills and Kaywood, representing Amazon.com Services LLC. Request final approval of Hyundai Boulevard Industrial Plat Number 1, located on the northeast corner of Hyundai Boulevard and Mobile Highway in an M3 General Industrial Zoning District.
My name is Judy Jones with Goodwill Mills and Cowood, and on behalf of Amazon.com Services LLC, we are wanting to plat this property. Currently, Lot 1 will be used for the new Amazon facility, with Lot 2 being held on for a possibility of future expansion.
Thank you. Any questions from the commissioners?
All of our plats are not contentious. That's the last one. Welcome to Montgomery.
Any questions from the audience? Is there a motion?
Wait.
Move to approve.
Did you have a question?
It looked like,
Is there somebody back there who has a question?
yes.
Oh, come on, sir. Careful.
Jim Henry. I guess I'm representing the people that live across the road and also properties that are owned by my family and a bunch of other people a mile to the east and south behind the boulevard, an 1,800-acre, more or less, certified mega industrial site, which Goodwin Mills, by the way, did the work for. So I just want to welcome them to the neighborhood. We're very happy that this is coming in. It's, to my knowledge, an asset to the possibility of having greater things happening across there. There's sewer and water available on the south side, and so we're hoping to be good neighbors, hope they'll be good neighbors. And besides that, we've got Amazon Prime. We probably get same-day delivery.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. All right.
I'm Lashley Hall. I live on the other end of the road from my cousin Jim. I want to thank you, buddy, for speaking with me earlier this week and trying to inform me about how this place operates. I do want to thank y'all as a board or commission or whatever y'all are for having the foresight to get this business to come to our area. This is what I guess we'd call a clean business. They're not going to have anything going to be messing up any sewers. It won't smell bad. We just want to welcome it to the community. One thing that I don't know how to, I guess this is a place to say this, but whenever all the negotiations were going on, a guy named David Garrett, a good friend of ours, he's back here, he said they were always kind to him and kept him all informed on everything that was going on. He dealt with Alpha, who's a person that owned this, especially Jimmy Parnell. He's a cattleman just like I am. And one of the things that Jimmy told me was, he said, if you get David Garrett happy, we'll let the deal go through. One thing that David told me that y'all may need to know about, that whenever the deal was going through, it didn't get to go through because they were having a vote up in Birmingham about the Amazon are going to be unionized. So Amazon cut the deal off here in Montgomery, which what I thought was a very strategic move for them to do. Say, if y'all gonna do that, we just gonna pull out of Alabama. But when the vote came, then the thing came back in. But I do want to thank especially Jimmy Parnell for being kind to another cattleman like me, and appreciate what y'all are doing for our community.
Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate that. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
Moved and properly second. All those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you so much. None opposed, right? I'm sorry. Next item.
The next item is presented by Overstreet and Associates Consulting Engineers, representing Westco MGM LLC. Request final approval of Westco MGM Plat Number 1, located on the south side of Wasden Road, approximately 1,000 feet west of Mobile Highway in an M3 zoning district.
Yeah, good evening. Jay Broughton with Overstreet and Associates. I'd like to start by extending my gratitude to the City of Montgomery and the Planning Commission for your careful consideration and input on this project. The item before you is a plat application for a single lot subdivision combining two parcels into one parcel in Hope Hall. The purpose of this application is to accommodate a new distribution facility. At this time, I'd be happy to address any questions or comments regarding this application.
Are they closing down the old facility when this one's approved or built?
That's up to them. But I think so.
This is directly across the road from the Southern Comfort Restaurant.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Because when I was out there, I didn't see any signs posted, and I thought that was it. But they were clearing the land.
They're getting ready. Yes, sir.
Any other questions, comments? Anything from the audience? Please come up and give your name and your address, please, sir.
My name is Michael Hudgens. I live at 376 George Drive. I get home by Wasden Road. My question for the commission is, I'm wondering about the traffic impact. Wasden Road is a two-lane road. Southern Comfort is on that, and the post office is on that road. South there is the Lowndes County Industrial Park. And so my concern, and I spoke to Jay earlier yesterday about this, is will the traffic be through the Industrial Park Road, or how much impact will there be on Wasden Road? Quite a few people live down that road.
Sir, can you come and ask?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I can help a little bit on this, I believe.
Okay,
We've
go
got
ahead.
we've got a development plan properly before us. There are going to be major improvements to Wasden Road, and there's going to be improvements made at Highway 31 that will involve AlDOT. So the traffic situation is being addressed. If the gentleman would like to come by and see me, I'll be glad to show him the plans. But they will be accessing from both directions with major improvements to Wasden Road.
Is that okay for you, sir?
Will the improvements be all the way to the railroad track?
And I'm going by memory, sir. The improvements are going to get to the point where they can get in and out, such as decel lanes and acceleration lanes and stuff like that, to keep the flow on Wasden Road without impeding it. And it looks like it's going to be a major improvement from Wasden Road, at least to the entrance to the
To where
facility.
Genpack is?
Yes, sir.
That would be that back road into the industrial park?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So you have those planned out already? I looked at the website and couldn't find anything.
Yes, sir. They are on the website under land use, future development.
Okay.
Try it again. Let me give you a card. If you're not successful, you don't hesitate to give me a call.
Very good. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You have something, sir? You need to speak in the mic.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Wesley Cox, traffic engineer for the city of Montgomery. I was just gonna build on what James was saying. We have received a traffic study for this project and reviewed it in conjunction with AlDOT. They are recommending left turn lanes, deceleration, acceleration lanes on Wasden Road, and they are showing widening of Wasden Road at 31. And like James said, they are showing connecting to Falmer and also using access from Falmer as well.
Thank you, sir. You can
I'd
attend
like
our
to-
meetings anytime. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a comment.
Go ahead.
This is refreshing.
I know.
To have the man who
That's what I
knows
was
what's
saying.
going
Exactly.
on in here and to be able to answer questions. Thank
Thank you
for
so
coming.
much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
You're welcome.
He was at the town hall meeting the other night in District 6. Answering questions.
Good, very good.
Come on up, sir. I'm sorry.
Very, very refreshing.
Any other questions, comments? Sir, did you want to come? Did you have anything? Okay. All right. Is there a motion? Any other questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and properly second. All those in favor? No opposition. The motion passes. Thank you. Next item.
The next item is presented by Jeff Code Engineering and Surveyors, LLC, representing the Colleen Corporation. Request final approval of Vaughn Meadows, plat number 26B, located on the south side of Corin Drive, approximately 160 feet west of Beck Close, in an R85 single-family residential zoning district.
I'm Guthrie Jeffcoat of Jeffcoat Engineers and Surveyors. This is the simplest of a replat whereby one owner, what it is, whereby one owner owns two adjacent lots and wants to build straddling one of the property lines, and according to all reasonable regulations and so forth, you need to plat it into one lot. And that's what we're trying to do, is make it buildable as one lot. Appreciate your vote. Hope it's affirmative.
Is there a motion or a question? Any questions?
Yeah, somebody ask if anybody's got any.
Anybody?
I'd like the pleasure of doing this one.
Anybody in the audience? All right.
I always like making one out of two, so this one I recommend for approval.
Second.
Moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Thank you very much.
No opposition. The motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you for being here for so long.
Thank you for being here for so long.
The next item is presented by Barrett Simpson Incorporated, representing the Bennett Group. Request to rezone one parcel of land containing 4.6 acres located on the west side of Edgar D. Nixon Avenue, approximately 250 feet north of Liberty Street, from an R50 single-family residential zoning district to an R60 multifamily residential zoning district.
Good evening, Blake Rice with Barrett Simpson Engineering. For any of you that are familiar with Lanier Lane, it's a project that was done a few years ago. A number of income restricted rental units right there off of Liberty Street. This is essentially a second phase of that project with the same type of developers. This is an age and income restricted development, single building, 56 unit, elderly project. Be happy to answer any questions.
How's the first phase? Is it full? Everything?
I believe it is. I believe it's
Okay.
100% right now.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Got a lady that wants to.
All right. Come on up, ma'am, please. State your name and your address.
Karen Jones, 459 Elm Street. I did a letter for each of you all. I passed it. I see an error there. But I'm writing to express our strong opposition to this project due to the fact, number one, ain't nobody out there know about it. If y'all hadn't even put the signage up, we wouldn't have even known this was happening. The houses that have been built initially were leased to own. Then our former mayor changed his mind or whatever, and that has changed. Traffic and what we're trying to do is continue to keep the historical look to our community without urbanizing it to be so compact. We like the children to be able to play in those houses, in the yards, in the lot. We thought we were gonna get a park there. I don't know what happened to that. And since Todd Stringer is no longer the mayor, we won't ever find out. We are also opposed because it will cause traffic and safety problems and create more problems for the school down the street, as well as Lanier High School, which is already overcapacitated right now. Potentially will lower our property value. Already don't assess us right anyway, so that's another issue. The safety of the children walking back and forth to school. We have liquor stores that we didn't want there anyway, so I think this would not be a good idea to put a multi-family facility there due to the fact that we want to keep our historical look to the historical community, and I just read that they want to call it the Freedom Village. That's not good for I think the community should have been properly notified and engaged, and I know Ms. Dolores, she passed, so I usually handle the Gratz community. However, some of my older, elderly residents who have been there longer than I've been alive hadn't even heard that this project was coming, and I think that is a direct insult to those individuals who have been in that community on those streets since they used to have wells. They told me wells were on the street. So that's how old our community residents are. And for these developers to come in and not talk to the community or put flyers or postcards somewhere in the neighborhood to meet us, to see what our opinions are, I think that's a direct slap in the face, because we have a voice too, and we just don't want any more congestion right there, because between rush hour in the afternoons, we already don't have a turn signal. As you're going to E.D. Nixon to West Fairview Avenue, it's no turn signal, so it's really bad with that liquor store right there, the liquor store by O'Reilly's, which is a package store, whatever. But on the weekends, it's horrible trying to, just to get into your community. So I urge you to disapprove this proposed rezoning, and I wish my neighbors could be here. However, there are many who can't manage the time to be here because of their age, and they're afraid of COVID. I have spoken to them, and I told them I would come down here. I had a death, and my friend died today, but I told them I'd come tell y'all before I rallied them up to strongly oppose. This is just a soft opposition.
Who did you say you represent?
The Gratz community.
Gratz?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, isn't there a development right across the street from this one that's already a development right across the street from where this one is requesting that is all for seniors also?
You asking me?
Yeah.
They already put it up, so you can't oppose something that's already up.
Yeah, there's one right across the street. It's under the development now.
What did you say?
There's a project right across E.D. Nixon from this project that they're developing now for seniors.
Yeah, they're flats and they're almost complete. We hadn't seen any renderings or anything about what is to come and what their plans are. You just don't invade in a historic community, and our residents are long living, lasting residents there. So to invade our community and not have any discussions, I think that you don't push up on us like that.
Well, how far does the Gratz community go? What's the boundaries?
It goes from, start on Rosa Parks, E.D. Nixon, go all the way down to where it's now New Fred D. Gray. But on Fred D. Gray Boulevard, which was West Jeff Davis, but on the left-hand side going down Rosa Parks, you go all the way down past the fire station to Cleveland Court. Then you get into the Nixon Times community. I've talked to residents over there as well. There is the Cleveland Avenue, which is now the Rosa Parks complex. We already have behind the Cleveland Avenue YMCA an apartment complex, and one on down Rosa Parks, an apartment complex. We do not want to be inundated with another.
One more question.
Uh-huh.
You said the housing next to this project was initially leased to own?
Yes.
And it was changed. What was it changed to?
They just rent.
Just rental.
They just rent.
Rental?
Yes. And so they're stable though now, but we saw a lot, the first 2 years we saw a lot of in and out, trying to get back with the owners, but it's hard when the owners aren't in Montgomery. Then like the management people are in Birmingham, and they used to keep lawn up, but they're doing better now because we had to make complaints to the management company, so we don't need another any other issues that we having to try to find people who are not in Montgomery.
Thank you so much.
I have
Go
a
ahead.
question. You mentioned earlier that it's a historic area. And then you also mentioned that there's liquor stores on one end, and then it's horrible on the weekend. How do you bring those two things together?
How do I bring them together?
Yeah, you're saying it's horrible at one minute because of the two liquor stores in
I said
close
it's
proximity.
the traffic is horrible because of the liquor stores. They are inundated with cars. We don't have a turn signal at the intersection of West Fairview Avenue, where Churches is, where Mr. Boyd's Auto, O'Reilly's, and then it's just Mr. Bob Monday's open property. It's terrible at that intersection down by Jack's, Sitco, Rosa Parks, and West Fairview Avenue. We don't have a turn signal. So it's kind of still, it's congested. So you want to build a multiplex or multifamily. We had this discussion some years ago, and what they wanted to do was build apartments like 2 or 3 levels up, and we came down here about that because we didn't want our privacy with the high-rise apartments for them to potentially be able to look into our homes. So
Ms.
we
Jones.
came down here. Well, if this is going to be a senior living facility, then, and that's what it says.
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
Well, then it shouldn't contribute that much to the traffic. Then.
Why?
They're seniors.
Because it's senior living.
You think seniors don't drive?
Not to the extent of 30, 20, 40-year-olds, no.
Well, we don't want it because they're putting the seniors, if this is the empty lot that I'm talking about, they put the senior homes across the street on E.D. Nixon next to Lanier football field. If y'all can imagine where that is, they have already started some senior facilities there. We have a Rosa Parks senior facility. If you go up down Rosa Parks, right across the street from former Representative Thad McClammy's home, because we do the annual senior events over there, we already have a number of senior facilities there. And what happens is the seniors just don't live there. Their grandchildren come in and live with them. And
you're getting into something else.
No, stop.
Yes,
no, it's not, because when the grandchildren come.
Ms. Jones, we've exhausted your 10 minutes past. Mr. Smith is over there, and this project is in line with the 2040 Envision project. It's been ongoing with the city, and the planning department always posts signs before a project takes place.
Okay, well, let me just tell you this, because y'all spent almost 2 hours on item number 1. But when it's in the black community, you want to speed me up?
Oh, come on.
That's okay. We'll have strong opposition, and it is what it is. We're saying we don't want it. Because if you live in the community, you would know when it's senior facilities, it's not upper echelon senior facilities where it's only seniors. It's because of the impoverished seniors' grandchildren and relatives who live in their facilities that the traffic is in and out, and that it's not only seniors. So if you haven't been to Rosa Park or Park out there to see that senior facility, you don't know what goes on about the in and out traffic and unwanted visitors who come out there. We don't want our community with the we don't want the zoning to be changed. Now, I'm just coming here. This is the first step. I'll take it to the city council.
We appreciate that.
We'll get more into it because y'all brushing this off.
Do you have questions for the gentleman that just did the presentation?
Don't brush me off. I got you. We'll be back, and we'll have the news too, because you don't brush off.
No, ma'am. I was asking you.
Historical commission. No, I have a question for y'all. Why y'all brushing off a historical commission, a historical community? We don't want that to change. We don't want the way that our community is set up, the look of it to set up with all this extra. No, we don't want that. We already having a time when we say we don't want unwanted convenience stores and package stores there and title pawn shop. It takes away from our community. And that's what I'm saying. If you're not out there, Mr. Reed, if you're not out there, Ms. Clemens, and anybody else, you don't understand how we value our community. And just like y'all giving the east side attention and letting them talk all night, I'll be back with the whole community and we're gonna talk all night. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I got a question for the gentleman, Madam Chair.
Does the audience, are you? All right.
Well, yeah, I got a question for the gentleman. And I'm looking at your proposed plan here. It's saying that, it's saying 3 stories. So this gonna just be a flat, or you planning on going up with it?
No, sir, it's intended to be a multi-story elderly facility.
Yeah, that ain't good. So basically, all these images that I'm seeing on your proposal here, I mean, you're gonna have the exterior security. Cause see, and I'm very familiar with this area, and you wanna put seniors there, and the young lady that left, I mean, like I said, I'm very familiar with that area. And it's just my own personal opinion. That ain't a good location for seniors. It's high crime area, for one. Major drugs, and I guess my main concern is for those seniors that you're trying to put there. I'm thinking of, you're going to put seniors right there. Every time they come out to go somewhere, I mean, and I'm looking at Troy Street, Auburn Street, and I can go on down the list. I mean, I personally know that there's a lot of drugs and a lot of bad activity. It just ain't a good spot for elderly. That's just my own personal opinion. I just wanted to ask, but.
Ma'am, you have a question? Come on up to the mic and give your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Shirley Donklin, 454 Lincoln Street, Montgomery, Alabama, 36108. My mother has been a resident of Lincoln Street for over 50 years. She's now 86. My concern, as just stated, would be for the seniors' safety. I know there are homes that were recently built for seniors. I don't know if seniors have taken ownership of those homes yet, but I think to put apartments or a unit of apartments or buildings for seniors might not be the right thing for that area. Like the gentleman stated, the area there is Lincoln Street, Liberty Street, Elm, Craig. I don't get a good feeling if my mother or seniors were there. I think it would be maybe a case where others would look at that to say, oh, okay, these are seniors here. It could be a tax or whatever. I think maybe we need to look at that more before you make a decision. Also, the area that I think the developers are talking about is the old Lanier Court. They have already brought some of the homes, and I don't think those homes are seniors' homes. I think they're family homes. They have brought that through that area. From the outside looking in, because I don't live in Alabama now, but with the families being there, I personally haven't seen any disturbances. It seems like they are keeping those properties clean and upkept. As the young lady said, there is a traffic issue. Lincoln Street is a dead end. A lot of times I see cars come up, they'll speed up the street, they'll turn around when they see that it's a dead end. I don't know if the developers are intending to open up Lincoln Street, but I think that would be a major disaster because we already have problems. There's only a few residents still there on Lincoln Street, and all of them are elderly. They're elderly, but they really care about their communities. And all of them at one time, including my mother, used to attend all of the meetings, but due to health reasons, she can't anymore. There's a constant problem with keeping that street clean. Every single time I come home, I have to call 311. I send emails and texts to Councilmember McInnes. The grass right now, I can show you pictures on my phone that is about as tall as me. They shouldn't have to live like this. They still love their community. So I think more emphasis needs to be put on where they are and trying to keep them safe, and at least let them live with some dignity in the areas that they live in, and put some emphasis on cleaning up the environment. If you could pay attention to that, I would really appreciate it. But like the young lady said, I think it would be added traffic. And I wouldn't want to see Lincoln Street, which is a dead end, I would not want to see that street open up. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that very much, ma'am. Appreciate it. Any other questions from the commission or from the community?
Yeah, one other.
Come on up, ma'am. Please state your name and your address.
Good evening. My name is Tawanda Thomas. I am a resident of 450 Lincoln Street, Montgomery, Alabama, zip code 36108. My grandmother has been living at 450 Lincoln Street for over 56 years now. We are having problems with people speeding up and down the street. Like Ms. Dunkling said, they will speed up, and then all of a sudden when they realize it's a dead end, they, make a lot of noise, turning around, lights in our living room, in our dining room, coming into the house. Also, it is problems with drugs. You're hearing multiple sounds of gun shooting, like you're in Iraq or Iran. Coming back home, I was overseas, and coming back home after 8 years and seeing how the community has gone down has been very disturbing. When I was at Maxwell for over 25 years, we had a projectural sign in the officer club that let you know what, the plans were for Montgomery. I don't really see
You don't know
it.
what happened to them.
It's very disturbing. Alabama is a very lucrative state, very beautiful state, and I'm very proud of it. And it's heartbreaking to see the things that are happening. Also, I agree with Ms. Dunkling and the young lady that was here about the traffic. That street does not need to be open. I think it would just invite more drug trafficking, maybe human trafficking, more violence. So we absolutely want to keep that end of the street the way it is. And the historical value is very important also, because this is the civil rights movement battleground.
Yeah.
So we would like to bring attention to that side of town where the city will clean it up and bring it up to a better living standard. My grandmother's 92 years old. I had to come back home and take care of her after my mom passed. And it's just heartbreaking that right next to her house, it hasn't been cleaned up. It's just full of debris. A tree fell down, they came out, cut the limbs, left the trunk of the tree right in the little walkway, and it's very heartbreaking to see all this happening. And for having a senior citizen home there, I think you guys really need to
Take a look at that.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. It just really, you know, if it was a place where hopefully respectable people are living there, it may be a good idea. But if it's that type of environment where the seniors are impoverished and the children are still relying on their parents and, you know, living there, and then have the audacity to sell drugs out of their, you know, grandparents' home, it's gonna be a problem. And it's already a problem on Con Street, behind our street. Multiple gunshot rounds that I'm hearing. It was so bad one night until I had to go and tell my grandmother to lay down on the bed straight. I couldn't get her down off her bed. I was literally crawling. And I called 911 and told them there is multiple gunshots. It's like I'm in a war zone. Please send police, but please tell them to be heavily armed and wearing protection. So,
according to the paperwork, the drawing we have, Lincoln will not go into this project.
Sir, I'm so sorry.
Lincoln will remain a dead end.
It will remain a dead end?
There's only one entry, is there not? And that's off of the,
E.D. Nixon.
Yeah, E.D. Nixon.
Rosedale Park, and then you have Craig Street.
Yeah, but you got, according to what they've laid out, they've only got one entry into, and it's off of,
There are two entrances to the proposed apartment complex off of Edgar Dixon.
yeah.
There are two.
Huh?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Any comments from the commission? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I got one other comment for the gentleman.
Okay.
The outer border of the facility, the outer border, I mean, is it gonna be fencing?
Yes, sir. If I may respond to some of this.
Okay.
So, number one, thank you for pointing out that Lincoln will not extend. I heard that was a major concern. Second, it's important to note that this is not public housing. This is the first step into redevelopment of an area. When we start worrying about the safety of people because someone's trying to develop into an area, that concerns me for a lot of reasons. When you're trying to redevelop an area like this, this is the first step of it. So this is a private, nonprofit entity that I've been involved with for many years. We've done elderly, we've done family. You heard the young lady mention a few minutes ago that Lanier is well maintained and well cared for. And that's because there's private management companies there and it's being taken care of. As far as an elderly project goes like this, we've also done standalone elderly, we've done duplex elderly, flats and elderly, but this area is really more leaning towards a single building, partly because of the safety issue. So a project like this is, heavily secure. There is exterior fencing. There's cameras all over the property. Essentially every inch of the property is under camera surveillance. The private management company takes great pains and effort to vet each and every resident there. And then once they become a resident, they are managed and watched for the exact reason that a couple of people mentioned earlier, which is the tendency for additional generations to come. They can visit, they can stay overnight, but that's really the limit of it. And any overnight stays essentially have to be registered with the management company. These are all things that I've heard on a fairly regular basis in a lot of municipalities that we've done this in. And at the end of the day, 4 or 5 years into a project like this, it's 100% occupancy It's beautiful, it's well-maintained. The property itself doesn't do anything to cause any problems to the community. It's very welcomed, and we get most cities saying, can we do another one of those? This gives a place for elderly people to live in a very safe and nice facility. As far as traffic goes, the Alabama Housing Finance Authority has some minimum traffic regulations, as well as each municipality does as well. HFA's requirement is 1.5 spaces per unit. What we typically see in municipalities that don't have any additional requirement over that is we provide the 1.5 spaces per unit, and less than 50% of the residents there drive. A lot of these residents are, when they come into this facility, they're no longer in one of our, flat facilities where they're caring for their own yard or anything like that. It's a place, it's not a nursing home, but it's a place where they can have their own sense of community and have their own integrity without having to worry about maintaining the exterior of their home or cutting grass or anything like that. A lot of these residents just do not drive. We don't see any traffic problems out of this.
Sunday night, and it's still my biggest concern. Sunday night, Auburn Street is 2 blocks away, matter of fact, Auburn Street. Well, we had some young people Sunday night. They jumped out of the car with some AR-15s, some AK-47s, and 3 people got shot. I think 1 died. That's 2 blocks away from that facility, and you're talking about a 3-story facility. Yeah, I mean, that's my biggest concern, is that we're going to stick some elderly people pretty much in the heart of a battleground. I mean, that's a big concern for me.
If he's willing to invest, though, maybe that will change. That's the whole point of this. He's willing to invest. You got somebody willing to invest in this area.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think this area needs investment more than anything.
Well, what do you think it needs if it's not this?
Frank, people getting killed over there,
I
dude.
understand that. This man is willing to invest money in this area.
But you're putting vulnerable people in the heart of something that's like
they're
a
not
war
vulnerable
zone.
now. The lady just said her 92-year-old mother was right there in the area.
And she lived there with her. And she got some folks that's there with her.
That's the whole point.
But you're talking about a 3-story building that people shooting randomly. I got a problem with that, Frank. See, you see where y'all live. See, I live over in that area in West Montgomery.
I'm not sure.
Y'all don't live there.
All right,
And it really
all right,
pissed
all
me
right,
off
all right,
for
we
people
got it.
to
We got it. All right, we got it.
try to tell people in West Montgomery what's going on when they don't know what's going on.
I do know
We
what's
got
going
it.
You don't know what's going on over there.
Okay.
Enough of this.
I just get tired of y'all with that crap.
All right.
Is there any other comments or any motions?
I move to approve.
And then they should get with the people that live in this community before they come in and do stuff like this and get help from those people. That's one of the biggest
I
issues.
move to approve.
Is there a second? No second. We can't hear you, sir.
Come forward, come up.
My name is Fred Gilbert, and I own the property at 451 Lincoln Street, the dead-end street, the corner property. As many times I've been down to this commission meeting, and I've heard different times these residents had been changed. At one point, you couldn't build, the lots was too small to build back the same type house that was there before. You had to build a same little shotgun. And I concur. I believe in Sister Thomas and the lady before her. Now, a state comment was made that older folks don't drive. You're right, older folks do not drive. But older folks have family that have to drive them to the doctor. Old folks have to come into these places where you want multiple units. And these multiple units are going to create traffic just like the young ladies just stated. the liquor stores and all this other stuff it was there already, but you're gonna have more traffic. You're gonna have problems if the picture could put back up there. The picture that we're speaking of will back up there. You don't move it now. Could you put it back up there? Or you got one Liberty Street there. It's on one outlet going into the new apartments that they're building on the opposite side, the north side of E.D. Nixon. What are you going to do for the south side where Lincoln Street butts up, stops right there where you want to put some apartments there? What you going to do about the side on the south side? Are any money coming from this project going to benefit the area where Mrs. Thomas said her mother? I've been there 40 years. She's been there longer than I have. I met her 40 years ago. Now she can't even get around. She's having problems. On one side of the street, over Lincoln Street, houses burnt down, they got vacant lots. You can't even get in there. I can't even get into my lot because there's no driveway there. They built it up 65 feet high off the ground and then it was 3 houses supposed to be there, or 4. They only got one driveway. Now how am I gonna go through somebody else's driveway to get to my property? How are they gonna go through one driveway and get to 2 other properties? I just want to say that I don't agree with that. I'm glad that he stated that we don't want Lincoln Street open up. If you open up Lincoln Street, they're gonna fly up and down Lincoln Street. And I heard one of the councilors say that they weren't gonna open up Lincoln Street, and that's good. But still, multiple family apartments, we ought to, if we're gonna do that, we ought to have that money. Now I can understand the developers, they wanna make a buck, but I heard someone say it's gonna be non-profit. Non-profit don't mean that somebody's not gonna get paid. What you gonna put on our side where it need this revenue at? Are you gonna help us over there? Cause it's gonna disrupt our neighborhood. All these other people coming in. That's all I want to know. Is anything gonna come from that development to help us to keep up in the neighborhood? Because it's all about neighborhoods staying, keeping up their own neighborhood and staying positive.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Can I say something?
I think we've got a motion. Yeah, go ahead.
No second.
Yeah, but I don't think we need. Go ahead.
I just want to know if I'm thinking wrong. Elderly people are in the line of fire every day. So wouldn't it be more safer behind a guarded fence with cameras and in a newer facility than like her mom? She was able to help her mom and hold her and duck her, but it's elderly people that's by themselves. So what about those people? And they'll have neighbors, they'll be able to, because they're in neighborhoods down where they can't communicate with anybody, they can't pretty much go outside, they're prisoners in their own home. So I just think that having some sense of neighbors in a neighborhood would be a better situation in a guarded, behind, in a guarded situation. So I
think that lady over there.
Mr. Chairman, you've got a motion on the floor.
Yeah, we've got a motion to approve on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
Yes, sir. I believe.
All right.
Can you show hands again, please?
All in favor?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right, next item.
The next item is presented by Mahesha Patel and Ratuvi Patel, representing the same. Request to rezone one parcel of land containing 19.21 acres located on the east side of Taylor Road, approximately 2,600 feet north of Troy Highway from Ag 1 residential or agricultural zoning district to R50, which is single-family residential zoning district.
Hey, good evening. Long night, guys.
First and last,
It's gotta be a
KJ.
record. I'm Kenneth White, representing Mr. and Mr. Patel here. As James read, this is approximately 19-acre tract on the east side of Taylor Road, kind of due north of the construction site that's underway right now. That property is actually zone R50 as well. And we're requesting this to be from ag to R50. That's just a schematic that we created to show what can be done, I guess, on the property. Tried to have some type of flair through the, so it's not straight. But again, my developer is requesting R50. I can entertain any questions. Should y'all have any?
What is that, KJ, in the kind of the middle from that right to, I guess it would be east of the island as you come in, right past the cul-de-sac? What is that area in there?
That's a low area, Mr. Hardwick. It's that dashed line to the south is wetlands. We're doing the development to the south of this. It's 150 lots or so, and we tried to avoid that wetland. So it's just a low area.
So I mean, what you're not going to do anything with it in this? In this.
So those open spaces right there, there'll be detention ponds.
Oh, okay. That's where you're going. Okay, okay, I'm with you.
That's
and you got the same thing on the back end, or the
correct. And those are, we believe those are jurisdictional streams running through the property on the west side and east side. So we're trying to stay off of those, and we'll probably put a lake on either side. Yeah.
In that area where you got the median or island?
Yeah, there's no actually median right there. So the ALDOT would probably approve a right in and right out. So.
But what I'm saying is, that's so inconvenient when you going home and you got to go all the way to the end of it and come back if you live on the left side. To get out when you're on the right side, you got to go down the end and come.
Yeah, it's
a
challenge.
Why even have it there?
It's a challenge, Mr. Reeve. I mean, they have controlled access on Taylor Road. So, the property to the left, we position the entrance across from the median, and there's no other median till you get to Hempstead. And if you look at Hempstead, they use one, but they have such a wide piece of property.
They're all over. They're all over. But
yeah, but
it don't make sense to me.
Yeah, they won't make a median cut right there.
Has this got water and sewer to it, or is it going to come through your other project?
I don't know that answer. Water is in the front. It's stubbed out. Well, it will be. Sewer is within that track where your cursor is right now.
The one to the south.
Well, it's currently proposed to have sewer in that track. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any comments from the audience?
My name's Elizabeth Hill, 3168 Thomas Avenue. My family owns property just to the east of this, and we basically would just like to be kept informed as to what the actual plan is and what the layout is as it develops, especially, of course, as it concerns the area directly adjacent to our property. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, could you please get his phone number before you leave?
I know Ms. Hill.
Okay.
I'm taking that wasn't an objection. That was just a request. Is that right, Ms. Hill? Is that?
Yeah, we'll definitely keep them informed. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Any other comments? Any other comments from the commission? Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.